All right. So, um, just remind you that next week I won't be here, but I will be available for answering email, and I'll bring my laptop so we can Zoom if we need to. So, now I can help you. I'll try to help you individually after today's lecture, and today I don't think it's gonna take that long. And the rest of the time I'm gonna just help people around. So people from online, you need help, we can do it today too. Like in the class, you can share the screen with me, or I can share the screen with you. And some of your questions, like how to do things, might be applied to the other too. So other people might probably be benefited. And like after I finish the lecture about the ears and the hair, I can show you, some of you from people who online don't really know, like Emily, I believe, or Erin. Oh, she's not here yet. Okay. So she has a little questions about what brush should we use on what, something like that, and I'll show you how. So let's take a look at the structure of the ear. So the big things, the main is the helix, the anti-helix and the helix, because those are bigger parts. And then targus, this part, and anti-targus. So basically anything that kind of reverse is become anti. So, and the ear loop right there. Now ear loop, there are two types. Attached ear, like this, attached, and then free fall. So you can pick either one of these, or based on the reference. Now the abstract shape is question mark and Y. Can you see the big question mark? And then Y, distorted Y. The ear canal, so it's really deep in. See that? And this section, you need to have it. It's called ear knot. Yes. So right here, and on the back side, concha, you have to show it that it's there. Some people might be narrow, like I have a little wide ear, but some people have narrower. So it means this part kind of narrow or shorter. So that's pretty much it. Okay, for the ear. So now let me set up my preference one more time, because luckily I saved my profile, not my user interface, so that I don't have to keep doing it again and again. Here we go. So now I got all brushes. These are the brushes that I put it right here is kind of common use for what we are doing, and I'm gonna change my document new, so that is fit, and I'm gonna change my gradient range to 0. I don't like those gradient. Look kind of cheap. And let me show you what I did from last section. And then we're gonna go back to the last section. And I have like 4 more files. So this is from from what I did. So I add a little ear, not finished, but so, and I try to use a mouse to work on it. It's not fun at all, but it's possible. So it is possible. It just takes longer. So, and can you see the ear is started at the end of the jawline, and if you look at it, the approximate height of the ear is from the top, it's like right around brow, can be lower, it depends. And at the bottom of the ear loop, it's right around the bottom of the nose. Nose is not done yet. And this is about half of the cranium here, or the head. So just try to remember those parts. If you don't, just, I have the image of, one moment, reference image in, I believe it's week 1 or week 2. Might be week 2. Oh no, week 1. Oh, week 1, day 1 maybe. Yeah, I think I also have week 2 also. See, you can see it from here. Just, I have to keep manual, I have to make adjustment all the time because of, from last section, if I open it, you will see that my face is so narrow and long. It's just because my proportion was wrong. I didn't measure the eyeball correctly. Now, what you can do is you can look at, see, is a 3 division. First division is from the ear, actually is a little bit over the ear until the mid of the eye, and then the mid of the eyes to the other mid of the eyes on the other side, and then the mid of the eye, this side, go to the ear. So 3 sections on front. On the side is kind of same. It just try to make things a little easier. It just 1 section here, 2nd section, and then the 3rd section cut half, cut a 1/3, and then you add. It said half, so it might be half. Yes, somehow I thought it was 1/3. So just look at all of these images and try to get the proportion, because whenever you started to sculpt, you will lose proportion. It's common, so you have to come back and edit them. If you look at some video on YouTube of how they sculpt the clay, those artists will have to keep manual with caliber all the time, like consistently calibrated with the caliber, and to the basically manual every 10 minutes or whenever they need it. Okay, so all right, and the hair we do it after. Okay, so I'm gonna load my previous one. I'm gonna go to my D drive. The last one, my head is like absolutely different. Can you see? It's so long, so narrow, because even if I turn off perspective view, if I calculate it, if I measure it, you guys, hold on. People from, I just use my finger and then put it on the screen and then just measure it. I could see that my eye from here to there, this section is shorter than the eye, so I will lose that proportion, so it's incorrect. Because you will measure one eye and then become 1 unit. And 2nd unit of the length of the eyes, I already lose it. And then the 3rd unit, and then another unit to kind of right here to the ear. So mine is already loose. And if I measure it on the chin, it's so long. It's actually, if I measure the length, it should be right here, right? Hold on. 1, 2, this is 1 unit, right there, 1 unit. But from here to there, it's already longer than that. I can tell right away. And another thing is 1 unit and 2 unit, and then another unit there, half unit there. So that get 3. And if I measure like what they did, 1 here, center of the eye, oh, here we go, center of the eyes, and then probably I have to enlarge the his brow a little wider, shorten on the top, in order to get it kind of close to average to the proportion. So that's incorrect. So now let's talk about the ear first. I started to do a form of the ear first before I attach, mirror and attach. So now I want to show you something. Under stroke, you have Sculptis Pro. This is a new that we don't really use. A lot of people like to use. I don't really like to use often because if I use on the head, when I smooth it and then recalculate the dynamash, I lose a few detail on the other part. So that's why I kind of try not to do it. But you could use it. So what the difference though, let me dock it right there on my reference, on my user interface is already there. But in the main command is right here, under stroke, Sculptis Pro. When I enable it, you can also change the subdivision size to be a little higher. So what it does is does this. Let's take a look at wireframe on this guy, on the ear. I'm gonna solo it for now because we're gonna focus on the ear. I'm using mouse, reduce the size. Now let's try standard brush. And when I sculpt it, see, when I turn on Sculptis Pro, it allows me to create a adaptive segment so that I can add detail as I want it. However, when I do control drag, it's going back to whatever I set on Dynamash, which is good, but you may lose some detail on the existing detail, so it depends. So I think it's good to use Sculptis Pro from the beginning right away and then turn it off after. Now Sculptis Pro will not work with a certain brush, like Move brush. Can you see it disabled? So
how did you isolate the ear?
well, right here, this button.
Oh, okay.
Solo button. And if you turn off solo, you turn on transparency, you just see ghosting on the surface that you don't want to, on the subtool, this unselected subtool. So you can use either way. So now I turn on a polyframe because I want you to see. So now what I did is I tried to create a question mark first, right? I'm gonna turn on Sculptis Pro and I'm gonna try to use standard brush to get started. Now, when we look at on our referencing, let me go back one more time. Ears, okay. So I'm gonna create a helix first, and the helix will go all the way to here, because later on anti-helix will connect kind of over, like if you look at on these two different ear type, some of them are overlap, like over the top of the helix, the anti-helix, but some of the person will just attach, connect. But can you see the earlobe? You could try to make it slightly different, higher level like this one, because it might be easier than that to exaggerate the form. And then the target here is kind of extended and has a big ear hole in there, ear canal right there. And can you see the curve like that? Make sure you get that curve and attach. So this is attached and it looks like a separation. This one is a good lighting. If this has a lighting similar to here, you might see this too. These are a little higher, but then coming down. So it looked like this. Let me add, I just use standard brush to get the form. There we go. And I am using Sculptis Pro, right? So if I turn this off, you will see something like this. So now I'm gonna move, just use regular move tool and push this deep down to create a different level so that the first helix starting from the inner, like concave in, and I'm gonna just concave the whole ear like that. Just move up. The brush size might be too big, just press S and then touch up. Just try to get a separation to define the form first. Here we go. And I actually wanted to create a little more pronounced deep crease, like really deep creasing. And be careful, you might push over the other side of the mesh. Now I am using a low subdivision first because I want to control the form. I don't want to get stuck with the detail and then lost the form. Because as you know, when you have more section, when you do the detail would stop you moving a large area. Will make it harder. And I'm gonna bring the ear loop up a little bit because it's connecting to the helix. Just want to exaggerate a little bit. Look like this on the side, on the front. So you might need to, I already look at ear so many times, so I often forget and just autopilot doing it, which is not good. You should look at the reference on different angle. Now can you see this angle? So it look like this, the helix and anti-helix, and you can see the level of the ear loop like that. And this is a targus, and this part is anti-targus. I might pronounce incorrect, but targus. Here we go. So now the helix is actually really separated from, if you look at let's see right there, that picture, see that? So it's a little tall, and the targus is kind of lower and a little separate. If you look at it, it looks like it's attached to the bottom side of the or the side part of the helix. So let's get that look, the form. So like that. Right now we're just working on on form. You might need to recalculate Dynamax, control drag, so that they become a little more uniform, less creasing. No, creasing is good in this point, but less, what do you call it? Less distorted shape, because sometimes when you when I try to see define the shape, the inside, I might move the outside by accident. And if you look at on the shape of the helix, it depends on person. Some person are really thin and uniform, some are just kind of, see, thick on the top or distorted in 1/4 of the shape, stuff like that. So, and you could try to use standard brush again and touch up. There you go. I am turned on a Sculptis Pro, and see, when I smooth, it's become like this. really, uh, what do you call this? Another word. Sorry, I forgot the word again. The term of that geometry is and look at on the concha right here. It's like a cone shape. I'm gonna use move to move. So you can think of like a flare cone shape connect to the plane. Like that. I smooth. I just tap smooth. There we go. So I think these need to come out more attached to the skull. Here we go. And I'm gonna build the free fall ear loop type. When you do on your own, it's up to you. It depends on what you prefer to do, or based on your reference if you have one. So free fall for people who just got in the ear loop that are not attached, like this picture. Hold on, let me show. These are free fall, sorry, and these are attached ear loop, too tight. So now I'm gonna try to use pinch tool to pinch this section because I still wanted to really see the creasing. Can you see? And I pinch a little bit because if you pinch too much, it will pull the top part down like this, and it become. Let me try to hold alt with pinch, get a different effect. I think this one is better. Alt, that's too much. Okay, might have to smooth it out a little bit. Okay, there we go. I just want to make it look like a round, slender. Just try to abstract from the real. Now, I think I might need, right now mine is only 104. I'm gonna bring it up to 160, the resolution, because not too much, but not too less. Okay, not yet. My form is still not good. I gotta push this in deeper, the ear canal. Get the ear canal first before we started to work with the tragus part right here. Because if you do this part first, do ear canal, I found is a little more difficult. You could try to turn on a clay buildup. Clay buildup, if you use, is basically build up the surface, discard a topology, so it acts like a clay. Now, I'm gonna undo. If you hold Alt key though, you kind of subtract, but really deep. Can you see? It's really quick. Subtract, and don't worry, it's penetrated because, well, maybe you might. So let me activate the head. I'm gonna craft that inside. Now the reason that I don't craft, hold on, let's reposition the ear correct position first. I totally forgot. If you remember, if you look at to the side, the proportion, the starting ear is halfway of the cranium from here to there. So about right there. From here. So it means the jaw need to be right in that position. I think I can go backward a little bit and then I can modify the jaw. Now, the top of the ear is approximately the brow, or a little kind of 1/3 below from the brow and the base of the eye. So I'm gonna just move it. And the bottom of the ear is about the bottom of the nose. One more thing though, guys, I have not touched this model yet from last section. Like I said, this model misproportion. So it means I could stick with the proportion from the brow and the bottom of the nose on this model, and then I have to shrink the height of the jaw or the chin to the nose and a little bit make decision on where would be the hairline. So the head might have to shorter the cranium. So at this point, I'm going to scale it down just a bit so that my bottom and the top are within this range to there. The brow and the bottom of the ears. In that range. That's all. So this is the correct position. And I'm going to make it ear like that. A little wider ear. So I'm going to form this shape a little bit. If you look at on the reference again, can you see? I want my helix to look kind of like this lady or girl. So a little bulger top half and then taper it down. So like that. Now I'm going to define, kind of try to show off that my ear loop a little higher step. There we go, like that. So, and then my anti-helix will come out even more bulgy on here. So right now, I think I'm gonna bump it up. How about 240 resolution? Let's make it a little more detailed. Okay. How do I know? I'm gonna cut Damien to define this shape again, the creasing from the inside. A little too thick. Oh. Now I hold Alt key, sorry, not hold Alt, just cut it. And try to control drag. See, you get the, so this is good. So it's mean my resolution is enough for me now to get that detail. Not fully detailed yet. It's just one step above the first rough. Gonna solve that. Here we go. So I just want to define this will come down like this. Now I think I'm gonna go back to the head and push this section of the head down. Now in. So I'm gonna just use clay build-up again and hold Alt key and then just punch it in. Here we go. So if I turn on transparency, you will see like this. I punch a little hole. I think that might be too deep because later on we're gonna dynamash ear and head together. So don't go too far. Don't go too deep. Just about enough to have it show have the ear canal show up. I gotta turn off transparency now. Here we go. So now I can see it. I think my ears is need to be need to be moved outward a little bit. Here we go. Because I want the base of the targets here are kind of similar level, will be blended into the skin of the head, right on the psychomatic bone. So this is good. I have an ear canal now. So I'm gonna punch this thing a little deeper. Hold Alt key with clay buildup. Just punch it in. You can also use standard brush with Alt key. It's also punch. I think that would be too far. There we go. And redynamash. I think we got the main shape kind of okay now. So I'm going to use standard brush again. Make the size a little smaller. I'm going to start it to draw the anti-helix, which is the Y. So I'm going to start it from this section first. Let me change the focal shift. I'm going to press O. Make the focal shift a little less. And then brush size. I want to start it. Let me look at from the reference again. Right here. A little big and then close. So I think I should, because I changed the brush so small already, I should start it from the big, the bottom part. There we go. So I just make sure they have a separation. Oop. Okay. And go like this. There we go. Increase brush size a little bit. There we go. That top part is too big, too tall. Here we go. And then just redynamesh. I'm gonna move this. This is the part that I want it to be a little more protrude out, like this. And when I look at on this image, can you see like that? And let me push this inward a little more. Okay. And I mean, you might notice that I use brush first, and I use the drawing type of brush, and then I use move tool to move brush to move in certain area. There we go. So it's look like this. Okay. Now I could see that the helix, that concave end, need to be more pronounced. So I'm gonna using a standard brush and kind of craft in right here to get more deeper level. And once again, guys, I'm lazy to change. It happened, you will do like mine too, like, because I don't use a pen. So really need to take time to change the intensity, either down or higher. Now, can you see? Now I punch in too deep. Let me undo. There you go. And then I just try to get it done quick. So, and this might look to you like it's really quick, but when I do on my own, it start off quick and then slow down later. So you're gonna have to take your time. Okay. I want this to kind of, after rotate in and then push inward. Right now it's still flare. Can you see flare? It looks like it flare off to the outer. I want this to be pushed inside. Look. There we go. I'm gonna push that deeper. Can you see it look like this? I want to push that in. There we go. Push that. I use a move tool at the moment. I think this is good. Now I can see the flow of the helix now a little better. Here we go. Okay. I'm gonna have to make that smaller, closer to each other. This section. Define it. Define the separation. Let me touch up. And once again, guys, it works like this way because I turned on Sculptis Pro mode. If somehow you don't see it on your interface, it's under stroke Sculptus Pro. This is the one. Okay. And you can just use default, but you can also experiment with those settings. Some might give, it will give a little different look and resolution. Here we go. So now make sure define the ear notch right there, this section. And you could think of like another tube that kind of bend in like this. Bend in. This ear is really good. Look at that. Look at the ear loop. It shows that it's really connected to the ear and a little angle it. I did a little bit differently. Mine is kind of flat, kind of bent outside. So I could change a little bit. So if you wanted to move in a large area using larger brush to move, larger draw size, basically. More detail. Oops, let me reduce my intensity on smooth too. Smooth too quick. Okay. And I'm gonna create more definition right here. So I'm gonna use Damien first to cut, to make a mark. There we go. Okay. I wanted to get a little more definition there. And I think based on this, can you see it has a little slope there? You don't have to get exactly like that because each ear different shape. So just move. And you might need to look at from the top view. Now, when I look at on the top view, can you guys see this is so dark, you can move the light. Now I can see it. Just move the light here. Now, some of you may not have this. It's basically under light. I do that on week 1, right? When we do that, this button. So basically, I just Control Shift or Control Alt, drag that and drop to here. But you need to turn on enable customize, and then you have to store and then save. Okay. So, and I think the first video should have that. So I'm gonna start it to touch up a little bit, and then soften it. So now can you see it's a little more defined, has a better than the before, redynamize. Okay, so now I can start it to create a ear notch. So I'm going to use move tool first because it's quick. Here we go. And now when I move, it's add a little more, can you see a little kind of a deform this section a little bit, which is exactly what we want because we wanted to create a ear notch and to mimic the bending curve of a cylinder shape right there. So now I can re-emphasize or exaggerate it a little more now by using standard brush with Sculptus Pro Active. Change the brush size. So now it will come a little larger now. I want to show that off. There we go. It's like another label, and then I'm gonna punch on the ear canal a little deeper right here, so that define the form of the ear notch. The notch right there. There you go. And basically, with this reference, the notch are actually tucked in. This one is more obvious. Can you see it? Tucked in, it has a little gap, and this is the another anti-targus, which is the reversal of this shape. This is the targus. So, and it's kind of go overlap to the anti-helix there. So, and let me exaggerate the first helix here a little bit more. I'm going to have to punch this inward, this section. There you go. So that you can see kind of the flow coming in here and then flare out just a bit. There we go. Let me punch that in. There we go. I'm going to try to separate the ear canal so that we really see it. Now this section, you might need to cut. I'm going to use Damien standard brush. Cut this section a little deeper. I want more separation to the targus, font targus. There we go. A little more separation. That's it. So now it's kind of separate now. So now the targus itself is actually thick right here. So I mean, if you look this way, it should be. Let me flatten it using trim dynamics. Flat this section. Okay. So it should be angled. Can you see? Angle like this. Let me redynamize. Let me turn on Trim Dynamics and then turn off Sculptis Pro. I just want to flatten it. There we go. And then I can turn that back on. See, angle like this. Like, has that angle. Side, side, here we go. And then I'm gonna increase with either standard brush or clay buildup, just only that part. I want it to come out. You can kind of exaggerate a little bit, it's fine. Like to make it more pronounced. Here we go. And then redynamize so that you don't have to keep smoothing. Now we get to some point now. I think the rough shape is done. The rest of them it just touch up. So now I'm gonna turn off Sculptus. And I'm gonna mirror to the other side. Pretend that I like this shape. Okay. Change the so I'm gonna duplicate. Oh, hey guys, forgot to save. Luckily it's not crashing. I have 6. I'm gonna do 7. I have another version 6 on my hard drive, so I'm gonna do 7 on this. Here we go. So mirror to duplicate the ear. So I'm gonna select the ear, duplicate. Now they are exactly same position but 2 sub-2. And then I go to deformation and mirror. Now I got 2 ears. Now I'm gonna merge them down to the head, not the eyes. Eye has to be separate until the end before we send it to print, because we want to be able to edit them. So I'm gonna go to sub-2, highlight the head, sub-2, make sure 2 ears are below, and then you just go to merge down tab, click OK. I'm gonna merge another ear, make sure you are on the head, merge down. Just look at on the sub-2, because sometimes your sub-2 is not in the correct order. So when you merge, you might merge something else. So now, after I merge, I'm gonna save scene as again. Control Shift T. I mean, basically I did this. Shortcut for save as on the tool. And then I'm gonna put 7A. Here we go. So I almost done on the ear. I'm not going to touch the detail, okay? You do it on your own. And then I'm gonna move on to the head, to the hair. So now I'm gonna blend this. Let's re-dynamesh again. You might have to go, your dynamesh probably is off because when we when we merge down, the head dynamesh is almost 500, I think 480. And the ear is only 240. So you need to change. I'm gonna start it with 860 or 460 or something like that, because I wanted to have enough detail, but I don't lose the detail on the eyes that I already been working on. So now, the only thing I need to do is, I just need to blend this to make it become a one surface. Now, this is another thing when you see separation like this, like a concave in a crease, you could use clay buildup. Make it a little low, and then brush size, and then you just build between that to blend it. And then soft, shift key, I'm gonna increase the strength of my shift key. See? That's how you blend it, make it quicker. So now, here we go. Can you see? About this one. Let me reduce to 3, so that really light. There we go. Okay. And up. There we go. So look like this now. And then just touch up the back side, soften it. Okay. So pretend that I like it. Can you see now it's really it's not defined yet, like there's no creasing. Now let me show you one thing, how to use the inflate. When you wanted to use inflate, it means, like, for example, if I feel like I want this section to be kind of big as that, so that they all uniform, which is, you shouldn't do that, but so I just change the intensity. People who don't have a pen, if it pen, you don't have to change at all, just touch it up slowly. So now see, when I draw it, it bulging it, so make it even lower. How about just only one, so that now I can do I can overlap it, and the shape will slowly, not too quick. Now it's super slow. Let's do 2. Here we go. Here we go. Can you see it's bulgier, so that you can uniform them if you want to. I just want to show you, that's all. Now if you want to deflate it, you just hold Alt key and then deflate it. There we go. Can you see? And I use the brush size a little bigger to cover. Let me define this one with Alt key. That's not good. That should be craft this in to get more detail. Here we go. Now when you do on your own, people who use mouse, just take it slow. Don't do too quick like mine, because it's hard to, you could try this too. When you are on a brush, under stroke, you can try to play around with a lazy mouse for people who don't use the pen. So now what lazy mouse does, right now lazy step is only 0.05. Let me increase, let me try 0.1. See how drag it would be. Here we go. Can you see the red line? So not enough. Let me add more. How about one step, so that you can see. Can you see? Now the one step, it jumped too much. That's not good. Okay. So straw, you can increase the radius a little higher. How about 15 and one step? See if I can get. Can you see that? You have the line. So with this line, we kind of try to stabilize. So let me undo. Let me increase more. How about radius? Let me do 50. How about 40? No. Let me add smooth to 20. Oh, it can go only 16. Huh? Nope. Here we go. So let me change the stroke to freehand so that I don't get the dot. A little better. Oh, but you get an idea. So you can use this. Not drag, freehand. Good. Okay. So you can turn on a lazy mouse to help. And I think lazy snap 0 this good. Okay, I'm gonna turn it off. I don't want to use it. I touch my stabilized hand. There we go. And redynamize and touch up. So basically you try to add crease. So let's pretend I'm done with this. How about hair? Okay. Hair, let's talk about just the concept of how to make the shape like crumb. Let me load another. Well, let's do with this. Okay. So I'm gonna create a insert spherical quicker and dynamize it in the form of the hair you want first. So don't do it too big. Oh no, don't do high resolution. Just to get press X symmetry so that you can smooth. Now I'm gonna form it. So you could just use a move tool, narrow it, and you might need to turn on transparency. Here we go, so that you can see the ball shape. And about right there. Let me cut using a clip. Just clip it. Oop. There we go. Looks like what is it? The haircut that you just put the hat on. There you go. I'm gonna just try to reshape the man hair. When you do female, it's kind of same concept. Just to get started. Oh, sorry, I forgot to turn on my turn off my phone. And okay, so pretend this is what I like, and I'm gonna turn off symmetry. Press X. There we go. I'm gonna use a clay build-up to get the shape quickly. I think it's too intensity. Let's do a little higher. Okay. Just roughly how I want the style to look like. So redynamize. Okay, let's pretend I have enough. Now, I could try to think of kind of triangle shape. Like for example, I can do this. I can use pinch tool. Make it a little bigger. Can you see? I pinch them closer on the tip. Okay, and you can try edge polish, and you can polish only this side so that you get kind of, oh, that's too much. Let me hold Alt key so that it polished, but my brush is too big. There we go. Redynamize, and then I'm gonna trim this section, soften it, and I'm going to use a pinch again. So now I get the shape of the top part, the tip, right? So now let me move this. I want it to drop. There we go. Like classic man hair. Okay. See that? Soften quickly. Okay. So now I wanted another, try to sculpt another crumb. I'm gonna use cut that deep. There we go. Redynamize so that I have enough segment. Segment will build up. There we go. And I'm gonna use a edge polish, hold Alt to kind of fill this part up. No, don't need to hold Alt this time. Just you can also use trim dynamics also. Trim dynamics might be to have to reduce the intensity. There we go. Redynamize, soften it a little, and then I'm gonna build this part up higher. Using clay buildup. Redynamize, and then I'm gonna soften a little bit. I'm gonna use edge polish so that I can kind of define the edge on the crease. I hold Alt key. It will try to fill the level that match with the crease on the bottom and maintain the edge. There we go. And then now I can trim a little more. I use edge polish again. This section. Here we go. And I'm gonna pinch one more time to get a little sharp corner, and then soften it. Redynamize. Now can you see? It started to form now. So, and that's it. The tool, the brush that you need to use. A little hard with a mouse, but it's still doable. If you lose the form, you just go ahead, cut it again. I think it's time to increase the, no, it's not time yet because I have to keep going all the way. So, but I'm not going to try to do all of them. Just going to just show you the concept. Okay. There we go. Let me build up a little more. Let's get that shape to separate the, I don't know what to call that in English. Read in a mesh. Here we go. So let me create a separation quick. Here we go. So if it penetrates the head, you can shrink the head later. So right now, pretend that I am okay with this. Let me cut. Oh, come on. Oh. Hey, ship is stuck on my. The pivot point is stuck on my. Hold on. Right there. I don't know how did I switch to that. Okay, here we go. I'm gonna just separate them for now. Might be a little too much, but you get an idea. Can you see? That's it. Now, what if you wanted to have like another crumb to come over the top? I would not suggest you. I would suggest you to create a new surface. Because, let me show you what I was saying. If I'm gonna do insert, I'm gonna do slender this time. Scale it down. Let me turn on transparency. Oop. Okay, so I'm gonna redata mesh this. I'm gonna create like another crumb that come over the top and overlap and drop it. Okay, so now let me shrink it down a little bit. Here we go. Okay, so now I'm gonna redata mesh this, and this time I will do 128 is fine. Huh? Press X to soften everything. X. There we go. Uniformly. Now, this point you could use move tool, or you can start it to do bend. Click this button. If you don't remember, it's okay. You could just use brush to move things around. There we go. Right there. I'm gonna just bend a little bit. Can you see? And pretend I like it. I click accept. And if you don't remember this step to use that a deformation on the Gizmo, you could just move move brush and keep moving. You will get it. I just try to show you the possibility, different option. Here we go. So the reason that I separated because easy to modify them, and then I will show you another technique. So now I'm gonna turn on Sculptus, and then there's another brush we used that before is a snake hook brush. You can do snake hook sphere. Now snake hook sphere will work with Sculptus only. Without that, it will not. Let's say if I turn off, it will look like this. That's it. Let me press X off. Oops. Let me zoom, reduce it so that you can see. That's what it does. It's create a sphere. But when you turn these on, though, it's become different. You can actually draw like this. Can you see? If you turn on a Sculptus Pro, you can actually draw it. A little awkward, but redata mesh. I'm going to turn off for a bit, turn off Sculptus Pro, and then change the brush to just standard brush. I'm going to soften it. Oops, soft too much. There we go. Now, inflate brush. You can make it thinner. Hold Alt key, inflate. I can turn on a little higher, 10. Can you see? You can narrow section. I didn't do a good job. Let me do it quick. I'm gonna just here we go. I can smooth it out. It's gone. Okay. So now I can start it to use regular move brush, or you could use deform again. It's up to you. Pretend I like that. Now, hey guys, can you see that left over? It's no big deal. Data mask is good. You just soften it, redata mask, soften it, redata mask. Keep softening until it's gone. Redata mask. Now, if it's that small, you can trim it too. So either way. There we go. I think it's already gone. It just kind of has artificial artifacts. Here we go. One more. Come on. It just doesn't smooth on the right angle. I'm gonna let it go for now. So now we can start it to trim the face so that it will turn to be a triangle crumb, like triangle shape. Trim it. There we go. And you see, and then you can use pinch to pinch. Now it's really low poly, so it will look a little facet. There we go. Now let me increase now. Let's do 240. The number you can just try, because I've been doing so many times, so I know. I kind of guessed that what number is enough for you. If you don't, just try a little by little, 50 at a time, like multiply by plus 50 until you get the quality you need. Can you see? And that's it. Now I can crease. I try to pinch this so that they looks a little creasing. I do it too quick again, so because of the brush size. Here we go. Okay, and then redata mask so that they kind of redeform. And basically, that's it, the technique. And basically at this point, I just gonna have to keep going until I got a really nice smoothing looking hair clump. So right now it's gonna just look like this. It's gonna take a little bit of time. So here we go. And then when you're done, you just merge into the hair, to the hair. Now don't do it. Do until when you're ready, because you cannot. After I merge, let me merge it, because I cannot touch some other detail. So I'm gonna select the hair, merge down. Yes. So now they become one. When I redata mask, they will blend it. Can you see? But once again, for the project one, try not to do this, like floating small, because I mean, you could do two versions. The version that we are not printing, because we're using FDM printer, which is extrude. You can't really get this unless you print this side. So, but in the future, we will have a resin printer. It can print small like this, even eyelash. So that will be the future. So that's it for the lecture today, because otherwise I'm going to keep murmuring and doing detail, which I'd like you to start to work on your project. Basically, guys, the in-class exercise is built to your project one. Now, when we, next week by, what day did I say that I like you guys to do snapshot of this week working? Anybody remember?
No.
Is it Friday of next week or Monday of the week follow? Anybody remember from online people?
I thought it was the 17th.
I don't
Yeah, I
remember.
think it's the 17th.
17th, okay. Oh, in that case, I probably has it on. Let me look. So, you guys gonna have to snapshot this like what we did in the past. So, for example, I go Shift S and then just move, changing to different angle, show off the detail, something like that. Oh, you don't need a body, just the head. So, Shift S, and now, nope, that side is unfinished. So, Shift S. Let me clear all of them. It's too big. Let me hide the body. Where is my body? Oh, that one. Okay. Oh, no. Oh, that's hair. Here we go. Okay. Oh, it looks so ugly on the neck. So, never mind. You know what you need to do. Okay. So, any questions? All right. Anybody need help right now? People who are online?